Welcome to the Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do podcast with your host, Thom Singer. In each episode, we explore the interesting lives of business leaders, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and others who have a healthy dose of the entrepreneurial spirit.
His name is Marcello Pedalino, and he is an award-winning entrepreneur. He's a lifestyle consultant and a fitness coach. And I'm looking at his bio, and he has a bunch of pictures on his bio. And he's in his 40s, and he has this picture like on the beach. And it's like, yeah, at mid-40s, you shouldn't look like that. He's doing something right as a fitness coach. And he's written a new book called Celebrate Life, How to Live It Up, Discover Fulfillment, and Experience the Joy You Deserve. And I think that is something we try to do for those of us who are part of this Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do community, is we want to get the most that we can. And it's more than just having a business. It's really the whole lifestyle. So I was really excited when I got introduced to Marcello, and I knew right away I wanted to have him on the show, and today is the day. So Marcello Pedalino, welcome to Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do.
Thom, good afternoon. It's great to be with you.
So you've been doing this since you were 19 years old. What do you absolutely love about the lifestyle that you've created?
Well, I think the best part is the law of attraction. You know, I'm a big fan of continuing education, so I attend a lot of meetings and conferences with some of the most talented men and women in the entrepreneurial arena. I think they're some of the most fun and inspirational people in the world. You know, they get it. You've mentioned them in some of your previous podcasts as event professionals, you know, master of ceremonies, and you know that type. I mean, you're one, you're an extrovert. In addition to being great and fun to hang around, they also know that if you work really hard, you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur. They also get that life and business can be really tough sometimes, so they can be, you know, a great resource for empathy and guidance. Since I strongly believe that you are who you surround yourself with, and that a life surrounded by successful entrepreneurs is a life that, you know, anyone would be grateful to have. So the perk of being an entrepreneur, I think, is who you get to associate with and keep in your circle of influence. That's my favorite part of it.
So you bring up, you know, who you surround yourself with is who you become. And you said that you've participated in a lot of continuing education. I believe in that fully. I mean, I try very hard to be around people who challenge me. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, I need a new room because, you know, I can't grow if that's the way it is. And not everybody does that. I've actually taken to asking the people in my network, who do you think I should know? Because they don't, many people, you know, Neen does it, but a lot of people don't just connect the dots on their own. So I've found it's sort of a great question when I ask, you know, at conferences or wherever, who is it that I should know? And then, and I know that you know this because I've already kind of done my homework on you and everything, but then in addition to that, then you have to be willing to do that for other people, right? You have to be willing to be that connector. You can't just always show up and go, how's everybody in this room going to help me?
Absolutely. It's a reciprocal business. There's no doubt about it. And again, that goes to who you surround yourself with. Neen is a very reciprocal type of entrepreneur. And that's why I think I'm drawn to folks like her. That's why she's in my VIPs, my very inspirational people circle of influence. I'm sure you've received a lot of emails. Matter of fact, I know you do because that's how you and I met. Neen will specifically go out of her way. Let's say we have a private chat. Neen's the type to follow up. It's just like my mom. It's an old school type of, not everybody has that follow-up quality to them. So Neen will be in a private conversation or a kind of a outside the room conversation with you, and you'll be like, yeah, we should do this, we should do that. And that's where it usually stops for most people. I'm sure you've seen this. It's
it's the let's do lunch, right? Hey, let's do lunch. Nobody ever calls and sets up lunch.
Right. Or they say, hey, it's great to see you. We got to get together. And then you're together for 3 days and you never get together. It's silly. But Neen will actually go back home, or even that night before you all go back to wherever you came from, and she will send this beautiful email. I love her emails, these e-coffee type things that she sets up. And she says, hey, Marcello, there's a guy you need to know. He's super cool. His name is Thom Singer. You have a lot in common. And she'll say a little bit about me and a little bit about you. And then she'll go, I'll leave you guys to connect. And then it's up to us. That's how I followed up with you. You followed up with me. And here we are talking.
Awesome. So I want to back up a step. So we talked about what you love about the lifestyle you have. Let's be honest. Are there ever days where you think, you know, I could have had a regular job?
It's a tough question only in that what I don't like is actually what keeps me on my toes and forces me to stay hungry. It's the idea that someone can get a steady paycheck, health benefits, and a 401k just by showing up and going through the motions at a 9-to-5 type of jobs somewhere out there. That blows my mind. As an entrepreneur, that just doesn't happen. There's no guaranteed paycheck every single week. As an entrepreneur, you only get paid when you work and when you have clients who appreciate your services and talents and then tell their friends about your services and talents, and when the other 18 things that have to be firing on all cylinders to remain a successful entrepreneur are maintained. That's what forces me to keep one of my favorite sayings swirling around in my head, which is complacency is the enemy of progress. So what I don't like is the fact that there's no guarantees, and I'm jealous sometimes of some friends who are in the industries where, every Friday they get a paycheck. I'm like, oh my God, you just kind of go through the motions there. And because they tell me they just go through the motions at their office. They're not doing any better than anybody else. They don't want a promotion. They just show up in their cubicle. They're on Facebook for 3 hours of the day when they're supposed to be working. They have a beautiful 401k that they're going to, in 10 years from now, they're going to get some nice little package. And I'm assuming for folks like you and me, you also run your own company. You're the talent as the entrepreneur. And guess what? If you don't perform, then you're out of business. So there's that pressure, but I think it keeps you on your toes. So it's a double-edged sword there, but that's my answer as far as what I don't really care for, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. And I want to repeat something you said, and that is complacency is the enemy of progress. Mm-hmm. I think that is something that everybody needs to just, whether they're out on their run or they're in their car, just take a deep breath. I'm going to say it again. Complacency is the enemy of progress. What advice do you have for people who want to become an entrepreneur or a solopreneur?
I would tell them to do exactly what you and I are doing today. You want to talk to other entrepreneurs who are successful. You should read their blogs, read their books, and watch their video interviews. My mother introduced me when, again, 16, 17 years old. She introduced me to 3 of the most successful businessmen in my town of Oakland, New Jersey, where I grew up. It's just when I was starting to show an interest in becoming an entrepreneur. Those conversations blew my mind. I was so excited after that. Just knowing what was possible had a huge impact on my career. So knowledge is power. There's a lot of it out there. And I prefer one-on-one conversations with people like you and I are having, but there's a ton of stellar content online these days, and it's free. You want to associate yourself with people who get it. Talk to people who will tell you not what you want to hear, but they're going to tell you what you need to hear. So, look, I want to start up my own business. I want to do this. I want to do that. Don't talk to somebody who says, great, go quit your job and start next week. You're going to do great. It's really easy, and you're going to love being an entrepreneur. You'll be going on vacation before you know it and have people working for you. No, man, it doesn't work that way. The first 2 years of your entrepreneurship, you might be having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You might have to move to a smaller house. You might have to drive an older car. You might have to sell your car. But 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, who knows, things might work out for you. I like the people who are honest with you, who are successful at the same time, and they'll also be good enough. You can find some people out there who will not only be helpful, but they'll also be consistent. Don't talk to just someone who will give you some decent advice and never talk to you again. Try to find someone who's going to be consistent. You may have to pay them for it. Maybe not, it all depends. But if you can find someone who's going to be with you, 2-3 check-ins a year or something like that, it's worth it because they can get you back on track, or they can say, hey, I'm so glad that worked for you. You may want to try this now if you want to go to the next level. So that's what I would recommend.
And how cool for you that when you were 16 and were showing an interest in this type of stuff, that your mom went out of her way to put you in touch with people who were doing it. I mean, a lot of people, especially, think back. Entrepreneurship was not what it is today. It's now celebrated, right? The heroes in our society are these guys who drop out of Harvard and start tech companies. Entrepreneurship is like, ooh. But you go back to the 80s when, I was in high school and college, and probably the early 90s for you. I'm a little bit older. My parents didn't know. I kind of always wanted to do my own thing, but nobody knew what that looked like. My dad worked for an insurance company and retired with a gold watch at 65. And, that was what my parents knew. And I don't fault them, but they didn't know. They didn't have friends who were entrepreneurs. And nowadays, the young people or older people who want to do this, they're so lucky because there's podcasts like this one. There's all kinds of videos that they can do. There's all kinds of online training courses. Again, you got to be careful. The ones that want to charge you a lot of money, I think you can find just as much information from podcasts and books as you can from some of these courses. But, you find the right one that's gonna open up your world. It's worth every penny. So people are lucky today because this information is out there. I love to ask people who come on the show, who it is that they think is cool, because I think entrepreneurs want to do more than make money. I think that entrepreneurs, I think they're great observers. And so I love the guests on this show to tell me, not someone in their company, but someone who they watch that they think, wow, they're crushing it. So what entrepreneur out there do you admire?
That's an easy question. My good friend Mike Walter, he's a very talented entertainer and a very successful business owner. He's writing a book about music. So each day he's posting a cool little behind the scenes story on Facebook about a particular song or an album that topped the chart on that particular date in history. So people are enjoying reading his posts each day, because he's providing a daily dose of coolness while simultaneously staying in front of his clients and peers without being obnoxiously promotional, which can turn just about everybody off, as I'm sure you know. So it's a brilliant marketing strategy that will culminate with a book, because he's going to do 365 of them. And at the end of this, he'll have a book that's going to be well received and that he'll be very proud of. I think that's really cool.
No, that is cool. And I love to see people who are, writing books and taking their stuff to the next level, because the more we can put information out there, the more we can touch people, which leads me to the last question. And that is, I think in addition to being observers, I think entrepreneurs want to leave their mark in the world. So I love to ask the people who come on this show, what do you do to give back to the greater good?
Well, in addition to my paid business, my consulting portfolio, I mentor a few young kids at no charge. And the same goes for my fitness coaching portfolio as well. I donate my time to some folks who are looking to improve their overall health and wellness status. And for whatever reason, if there's a financial issue or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I just make sure that I reach out and help them out. We both seem to benefit from it, because I found that sometimes in a selfish way, the nicer you are to people and the more you do for other people, it feels really good. And the better I actually feel about myself. So the bottom line is, a lot of good people have gone way above and beyond over the years to show me the way. And so this is just one small way that I can choose to pay it forward.
And I think you've hit on something that doesn't often get said. And that is, a lot of people, reached down and gave me that hand up. It's my turn to do that. And I think the way you said that is really beautiful, because I think people need to remember all of us are fortunate. Everybody who's listening to the show right now, even if you feel trapped in the job that isn't the right place, we're all fortunate. We get to live, in a great place. Some of the listeners are international. Not everybody's in America, but everybody gets to, there's opportunities all over the world, and people have that opportunity to better themselves more so now probably than at any other time in human history. But we have to remember that just to get to where we are, somebody helped us, whether it was our parents or our teachers or our neighbors or the community. There's always been people who've given us a leg up, and we have to remember it's our turn to pay that back. So I really appreciate the way that you said that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, Marcello, if somebody's listening to this and they think, I've got to know more about this guy, how in the world do they find you, and how do they find out about your coaching? How do they find out about your new book? Where do they go?
They can find out about the book, the entertainment portfolio, and all things Marcello Pedalino at CelebrateLifeBook.com. CelebrateLifeBook.com. That is awesome. Well, Marcello, thank you so much for being a guest on Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do. You're doing some very cool things. Well, thank you very much, Tom. It was a pleasure to be here.